All right, guys, so we got to talk about probably the dumbest politician in America, hands down. It's not even really a competition, and that is no other than Cori Bush, okay, who is probably the race hustler of the century, as she cannot articulate herself or give an argument about anything without crying racism and white supremacy, right? That's all she knows. And this exchange I want to talk about that took place in Congress, which it really is an embarrassment that we're having these types of exchanges in Congress. But this exchange between Cori Bush and base author Mr. Alex Epstein, who basically is a fossil fuels advocate, okay? He promotes the expansion of fossil fuels. And Cori Bush, instead of, refuting him in his position in regards to him wanting to advance fossil fuels during a congressional hearing, she actually just uses the opportunity to call him a racist, right? And a white supremacist. Take a look.
But my Republican colleagues have unironically invited for-profit think tank and oil titans whose expertise is in maximizing profits, especially at the expense of our Black, our brown, and our indigenous neighbors' health, safety, and well-being. One of these so-called energy experts is a philosopher who has previously espoused white supremacist views. For instance, in his 2000 college newspaper, he wrote, quote, "The African and American Studies Department has 23 classes. In many of these classes, African culture is presented not as inferior to Western culture, but as on equal footing with it. In other departments, the same is done with Latin American, Indian, and American Indian culture," end quote. When confronted about these views over 2 decades later, rather than disavow them, he doubled down on this narrative saying, quote, "It has nothing to do with skin color. I was arguing that those cultures overall are inferior to Western culture." We are not inferior to any culture, speaking as a descendant of one of those cultures. This is the witness the Republicans invited to discuss issues of energy security. He came here to promote fossil fuels, which we know are disproportionately harming and killing Black and brown people.
I'll speak from a very educated mind.
To Sector 12. I've crash landed on a strange planet. No readout yet if the air is breathable. And there seems to be no sign of intelligent life anywhere.
I recognize Alex Epstein to please begin his opening statement. And because you were directly mentioned as a chairman's discretion, I want to give you an additional minute if you'd like to address the allegations levied on you against the ranking member.
Yeah, it would be great if they put up the cards again. So thanks for giving me a minute to address truly despicable and false attack on me, claiming that anything I've ever said is white supremacist and then trying to imply that that somehow applies today. So I don't know if you want to put those cards back up, but what I argued and what I've argued for my entire adult life is that Western culture is superior in the sense that it promotes individualism and freedom. And I have fought my entire life for freedom around the world, including in Africa, including in Asia, including in India. And I want everyone around the world to have the same opportunities that I do in the United States. There are different places around the world that are in many ways inferior. They have female genital mutilation. They have slavery. These are not as good as not mutilating females' genitals and not enslaving people. And so I make no apology. And the idea that this is associated with skin color is despicable and racist. Skin color has nothing to do with ideas. Where you came from geographically is irrelevant. What's relevant is what's true. So you can ask more about that, but that was an insane diversion from the truth.
And Mr. Epstein, just a little off topic, but Western culture that you mentioned could exist in countries, let's say in Japan.
Well, yeah, and it has proliferated to the great benefit of all. And it's not really about the location. It's about individualism and freedom and reason. So it's certain values that are universal human values. The idea that freedom and reason and individualism only apply to people of certain skin colors, that is the actual original racist idea versus no. Whatever your skin color is, these ideas are true and good for human flourishing.
Yeah, so I apologize, guys, right? Because I put you through that intellectual torture session of listening to Cori Bush just accuse the guy of just being a racist, right? She didn't address anything about the actual topic, which is energy security or fossil fuels or whatever. She just accused the guy of being racist, right? And that is the peak of her intellectual capabilities. It really is. I can't believe that we have people like her in Congress. It is an embarrassment to this country, right? And Alex Epstein went on Fox News to expand more on how embarrassing this hearing was and that line of questioning or that statement from Cori Bush. And again, I 100% agree with him.
Right? That's their card, right? You're a white supremacist. You've already won the debate if that's all that she can do.
I was even a little surprised. I guess I shouldn't have been surprised. But when I was preparing for the hearing, I was researching the SPR. I was trying to look at every plausible counter argument to see if I could be disproven. And I wrote very thorough testimony sent in advance. And then this is what she leads with. And she has a prepared poster that's purporting to show me as a white supremacist, although she's not even aware enough to know that one of the posters she showed had me saying this has nothing to do with race. So it was so embarrassing. And during the whole hearing, I made so many points and not one of those points was addressed. It was only accusations of that or accusations of being some sort of stooge for the fossil fuel industry, which I also refuted. So it was really an embarrassment. But fortunately, I did get the truth out at the hearing.
Yeah, you're right. It is an embarrassment. Right? He's 100% right. It's an embarrassment for our country. It's an embarrassment for St. Louis, which, by the way, is probably one of the most deadly cities in this country. Okay, her district is one of the most deadly districts in this country. And, this is what she's doing in Congress. Crying about racism and white supremacy. And also arguing to defund the police while she marries her private security guy, right? She's literally marrying the police and spending $500,000, $500,000 a year on her own personal protection. It's amazing how that works. And again, this person is going to get elected once again by her constituents to go right back to Congress, even though she's clearly a failure, right? She's clearly in over her head. She's just not intellectually capable of being a sitting member of Congress. I think it's very clear, okay? She's a low IQ individual. She's not very intelligent, right? This is not the career for her, okay? She clearly, again, can't have a real conversation. She can't have a real debate. She can't discuss actual real issues that they're talking about in Congress without crying racism, right? She did that when it came to talking about the border. The only thing she can talk about is racism. She can't have a substantive conversation about any issue without boohoo crying racism, without pulling a race card. And it's just because she's not intellectually capable of doing anything else, right? She's just not. She just does not have the ability to do it. Take, for example, this clip right here of Cori Bush discussing tax and what is a fair tax. Like, what is your fair share?
The wealthy should pay their fair share.
Yes, wealthy should pay their fair share.
What is a fair share? What percentage?
So you're saying that you're saying that they're paying their fair share is what you're saying?
No, I'm asking what percentage is a fair share?
Their fair share, the same, if a third of my money is going to taxes, then I think a third of their money should be going to taxes. Well, it does.
I'm trying to understand because you realize the effective tax rate on the poor is less than it is on the rich, right?
Okay, so first of all, I'm not the poor. I'm very close to that line, but I'm not the poor.
Okay, so the effective tax rate on the middle class is less than it is on the rich, correct?
So let's say the wealthy 1% could pay, let's say if they paid, let's just give them 45%.
As you can see there, clearly in over her head, okay? In that exchange, she had no room to blame the white man, nowhere to cry white supremacy or to say it's the white man's fault, even though she probably could have done that at some point. That was early in her career before she figured out how to finesse, right? How to blame the white man for every problem and every issue without actually really discussing stuff. But as you can see there, it's just talking points. Oh, the rich need to pay their fair share. Okay, well, you say that so much, you would think that these people will have an answer in regards to what is their fair share, right? How much should they pay, right, to be paying their fair share? But they literally never have an answer because it's all talking points. It's no substance. It's just talking points, right? That's all it is, just slogans and talking points. No substance, no actual real thought behind the things that you're saying and why are you saying these things. She can't even tell you what she thinks a fair amount of what is the fair share for the rich to pay. But you want to tax the rich, though. Okay, but how much? Oh, I don't know, right? Again, it's just amazing. This woman's embarrassment, this district that voted for her is an embarrassment. And, I mean, it is what it is. I mean, there's not much more I can say about this woman. She is terrible. She is probably the worst politician in American history. It's not even close. Let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.